Today's topic is prepared and presented by Mr. James, and it's budget. It's one of the new topics on your syllabus, and you should make sure that you understand it properly and that you are able to work problems concerning them because it could very well show up in your exam. Hasn't done so yet for the past couple of years. Okay. The two budgets that we have to learn to prepare are the sales budget and a production budget or a purchasing budget. The sales budget is a prediction of the number of units that a business will sell and their value for a future period. All right, so basically you can have a sales budget in units. That's the amount you intend to sell, amount of units of the goods that you specialize in, or maybe it could be a different amount of good types of goods. The sales budget is the first budget that you have to do before you can do any other budget. From the other budget, they get their data for writing up the other budgets from the sales budget, right? It is what drives the other budget. All right, and normally the budget is prepared on a month-to-month, month-by-month basis, or it could be prepared for quarterly or by month, by annually. That is 6 months. It is the most important of your budget because from that you will get things like the cash inflows, the cash budget, the purchasing or production requirements. So you can get your production or purchasing budget. There's a definition here. An itemization of a business sales expectations for a future period in both units and dollars, right? So it must be done in both units and dollars. Okay, so we look at an example of it next. It's not right. Dylan manufactures a single product. He forecasts that sales for each of the 3 months ended 31st of May 2019 will be as follows. And he has March 420 units, April 440 units, and May 400 units. The selling price of the product is $60 each. And we are to prepare a sales budget for that. Now, the sales budget is, from the sales budget, we will decide how much to produce. He is going to produce, because if you don't want to produce goods that would not sell, right? So what he will do is he will do a survey in his neighborhood or wherever he's selling and find out how much the market will take. And from that, he will draw up a sales budget. And then from the sales budget, he will determine how much his production budget will be. Now, if he's a retailer and not a producer or a manufacturer, what he will do is he will do the same survey and find out how much the market would take. And from that, he will make his sales budget. And again, then he will find out from the sales budget how much he has to buy and when he has to buy. Okay? If you do things in a logical order like that with your budgets, your business will never bust. Okay? So looking at the sales budget, we have it across here. The sales budget for Dylan for the 3 months and then 31st of May 2019. A simple affair. You put the months at the top and you put in the sales in units. for the 3 months. Then you multiply it by the selling price of $60, and you will get the sales value of on the next line. So we could have a line here saying multiply by 60, right? In the middle of these two. Okay. The mouse stick there. Okay. And when you multiply it, you get the sales value unit, and that's it. So your sales budget is not a difficult exercise to perform. And from this now, you will decide how much of these units here you're going to produce when. You don't want to produce all here in March, okay? Because they might spoil by the time I get to May. So you have to determine. All right. So I have here a practice question for you. You're not going to do it now, but at the end of the session, I'll put this up in the classroom, the Google Classroom, and you could Zena has prepared the following forecast for her business. Galaxy products. The forecasts are for each of the 3 months ending 30th November 2019. And we have 3 months again. And incidentally, this is the last quarter of the year. The selling price of the product during the budget period will be $35. And what I would like you to do when you're preparing this sales budget is include a line between these two with this multiplication by the selling price. Okay? In this case, it would be multiplication by multiply by $35 per unit. Right? So you have here exercise for you. Preparing the production budget. Just two budgets we have to learn to prepare for CSEC exams, and one of them they are the sales and the production budget. So this budget would set out the number of units to be produced in order to meet the expected sales, right? Okay, so you expect to sell a certain amount, then that will tell you how much you need to produce. It takes account of the inventory levels of finished goods. This budget is a great important because all production costs are determined from its result. The usual format for the production budget is you can have it like this here. You start with the sales in units. Notice must be in units, and the amount of sales units that we expect for the period, and from that we will minus any opening in stock. If we have opening stock, we don't have to produce those, so we minus it from the sales. And the closing inventory, we want to keep some on hand in case, so we going to add that on to the sales, and we will get the amount we want to produce here. Okay, so you look at the words here, add unless, and you notice what you are adding. You are adding the closing and you are minusing the opening. Okay. All right. Let's look at budget. The same person, Dylan, manufactures a single product. He forecasts that the sales for each of the month ended will be, and we have the figures here again, right? Dylan, see illustration 17, that is this year, has also prepared a production budget for each of the 3 months ended 31st May 2019. Dylan's policy is to maintain inventory levels at 1/4 of the sales for the next month. Sales for June 2019 are forecast to be 460 units. So this is for the next one coming after there. You would have to produce it this month, right? And we use the same formula here, so it's essential that you know this formula here, right? And you put your 3 months at the top here. Now notice they can give you up to 6 months in this type of budget. Okay, so we have the 420, the 440, and the 400. It's taken from this, from the sales budget here. So you see why the sales budget is important, right? From this, you will produce your production budget. So the opening inventory is going to be for a quarter of the sales for the next month. So after we put in these here, we'll take a quarter of 440 to be the opening inventory here. And we're going to minus it. When we work in this, we have to work one row at a time, one column, sorry, at a time. So we take away that from there, the closing inventory becomes the opening inventory of the next month. 105 should be the quarter of this 420 here, right? And the 110 would be a quarter of the next month. So it's a quarter of the 440 here. When we add this and we minus this, we will get the 425 that we need to produce. Okay, now what will happen the next month? We have to take this and we put it over here. Okay, so your opening and closing inventory becomes your opening inventory for the next month. And we take that off because we already have it. We'll minus it from this. And our closing inventory would be a quarter of this one here. We'll get 430 when we add this column down. And then we have here, the sale is 400. The 100 from here comes here. And the 115 is the 460 here, a quarter of it. Right? There have the 460 up here. That's for June. If you had a column for June, you would have had 460 up there. It becomes 115, quarter of it here. So we get 415 at the bottom here. Okay, what I'll do, I'll go over this sale because I made certain errors there. Maybe a different color. All right. First, we will put in the sales, which we will get over here, right? And we put them in here. Then the open inventory, we're told, is right, each of the 3 months maintain levels at 1/4 of the sales of the next month. All right. So the closing inventory here would be a quarter of this, and we get 110 here. All right. The 105 would have been a quarter of this here. Would have been the closing inventory for if we had February here, all right, and we would have brought it in here. Okay, let's call this column February just so you can see where the figures are coming. Okay, when we add it down, we get 420, 10 minus 105, 110, 425. Okay, now the 110 from here, the closing inventory of 1 month becomes the open inventory of the next month, right? And this 100 would be 25% of the 400 here. Okay, and we add this column down again, and we will get 430. So we're going to produce 425 for March and 430 in April, and then we're going to add this column down here. So the 100 will go over here. And the 115, as we saw, would be next month, 115, and then we will get 415 for production there when we add the column down. All right, so let's see. We have a work example here for you to practice again. Right, it goes up in the classroom. Now make sure you try these at least once. And there's another one here. Now, this one is important, and you can find the answer for it. Instead of submitting it to me, you can get the answer at this web address. All right, so you can compare it there before you submit it if you want to submit it to me. Okay, so that would bring us to the end of the thing. You are unmuted. So if you want to ask any questions,